Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Peyton Podcast on May 12th, 2019. Happy Mother's Day to you mothers out there, single mothers, mothers that are actually with the dad. Good for you guys. Way to make it work. I didn't do one last week. Really didn't have much to talk about. I've just been working the whole time. But I got some time off this week. Starting last Thursday for my daughter's birthday, which was a blast. My daughter is now 6 years old, which is insane that I started this journey 6 years ago. It's been a roller coaster. Any of you that know me on a real personal level, especially over these past 2 years, know it's been different type of time, man. But my daughter's amazing. She had a great party. A lot of her friends showed up from school. We decided just to have a girls' party, so the only boy there was one of her cousins. She got a lot of cool gifts. I got her 2 gifts. I got her these frozen dolls with big heads, whatever they are, and then I got her a knee hockey set, which any of you out there that play hockey know that knee hockey sets are the reasons why most hockey teams are not allowed in hotels on trips, usually tearing up the hallways or, ballrooms or, even your actual hotel room. You get torn to shreds just by a few kids with little plastic sticks and little tiny nets, cause more damage than you would think. But we also got her a pair of roller skates, or her mother did. Credit to her for getting her roller skates, which she didn't like. But, that's no knock against her mom getting them for her. She's not a big fan of that type of stuff. Even ice skating, she's a little bit iffy about. But finally talked her into slipping them on. We just kind of went down her mom's street there. And she didn't fall at all. Both her mom and I held her hand, and she just didn't like it. But I don't know, she has like this weird idea that you don't necessarily have to practice anything to get good at it. You just have to be older, which there's flaws in her logic there. But she says, "Oh, when I get older, I'll roller skate." It's like, well, that's fine, but you're still gonna suck at it. You got to practice. I do remember though, when I was 7, that's when I got my training wheels off my bike. But all my buddies, they had already taken their training wheels off. And I was never really made fun of for it. My friends really didn't say anything. And, if you remember back in the day, you would take like a trading card, like a Pokemon card or a Yu-Gi-Oh card or whatever, and, place it in the spokes or something like that. Looking back, I really don't remember how we did that. But, you would attach it to the spokes, and, as you rode the bike, as the wheel turned, it would kind of make like not really a rattling sound, but to keep it simple, like a motorcycle sound, so you thought you were cool. And, again, I did that too. Friends didn't say anything, but finally my dad said something in front of my friends, like, I've never seen a motorcycle with training wheels before, and it kind of clicked from my friends, like, oh yeah, he's still on training wheels. And so then they started making fun of me for it, which is almost why I think bullying should stay in school. Because, probably now as an adult I wouldn't have training wheels, but if it weren't for my friends bullying me for it, I don't think I would have ever gotten rid of my training wheels. So, I don't know, I think bullying is I think it's just a part of school that teaches you the other half about life that school doesn't teach you. It teaches you book smart, but I think getting bullied teaches you street smart, how to pick out the assholes. Because if you can't do that, as an adult, well, you're going to get screwed over in more ways than just getting a wedgie, So, I don't know. Luckily, my friends bullied me and I got the training wheels off. So, I don't know. I can't really say too much about Chloe not wanting to rollerblade or anything like that. I still can't rollerblade. I can ice skate perfectly. Obviously, I play hockey, and I played hockey my whole life, but I can't rollerblade. It takes me a while to get comfortable with it, but to this day, I still can't stop. I just have to slow down or just, kind of go up to a wall or something like that. I can't stop. I have buddies, obviously, that can, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but like hockey stop, turning your wheel sideways and you just stop. And on ice, I can do that, obviously. It just seems more simple, but with wheels, I don't know. I've just never been able to get it down. So I'm not that great at it, but we're going to try to get her into it. We're going to try to get her to rollerblade and ice skate. Her mom and I both agree that we don't necessarily want hockey in her future. She's not really a physical person either, so I think that'd be best anyway. Speaking of physical, she had her field day, which was awesome. I love seeing her around her friends. I love seeing her playing outside, finally getting off her ass in front of that TV, being outside. It's awesome. But again, she's just not a physical person. She's not aggressive, I guess. They played like different games. One of them was soccer. Another one was, I guess it was like field hockey, but they almost had like these paddles, or these foam sticks, but it didn't have like a blade like a hockey stick would. It was just a straight, piece of plastic and foam, and they just had this big ball and you just had to whack it. It's almost, I want to describe like a baseball bat. They were basically playing hockey with a baseball bat, but softer and stuff like that. But she just wouldn't get in there. They were playing like this frisbee game where they had this large, oversized frisbee, and the rules of the game kind of got skewed at the very beginning. Basically, the way it was supposed to be is you have two teams. It's like ultimate frisbee. You have two end zones. But that ended quickly to the point where the kids would just throw the frisbee, and then whoever got to it first would get to throw it. And this little boy threw it, went on the ground. This little girl went to go pick it up, and this thing, as I said, it's oversized, so it's large enough where maybe two kids could sit on it, and you still have some room left. So this little girl gets on top of it to claim it, and this little boy just rips it out from underneath her. And this little girl starts crying about it, and my daughter goes up to her, helps her up, and brings her over to the I don't want to say counselor, but it's not a teacher either. It's a middle schooler who helps run the group. I don't know what you would call them. I almost want to say teacher assistant, but yeah. So basically, each class had a middle school student lead them around to the different activities. And then also they had different middle schoolers run each section. So these little boys would always control soccer. These other boys would always control the hockey game. And then later on there was like a volleyball game. But anyway, so my daughter goes up to this middle school chick, saying like, oh, my friend, is upset or she got hurt or whatever because this boy took the frisbee. And again, it's a fucking middle schooler. Like, she has any clue of what to do. She basically gives my daughter like a blank stare. And if I wasn't so aware of the situation, I might be one of those asshole parents, who demand action from this little middle schooler. But no, I mean, I guess when you're a little kid, you look up to those older kids for guidance. But I guess stepping back as a young adult, what the fuck is a middle schooler going to do about it? Again, she just gave like a blank stare. And it was just so funny looking at this middle schooler trying to figure out, like, how to take action. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell a little boy to sit out? God forbid you do that. Then the actual kindergarten teacher is going to come up and, have some words of, well, why aren't they playing? Well, because your kid was being an asshole. Well, that doesn't matter. My kid deserves to play regardless of their actions. So it was just funny seeing that. And then with the hockey game, again, there are no blades, so it's not like you can really stick handle or control it too much. But yet there was one little boy who, most of the kids, when they got the ball, they would just hit it as hard as they can towards the goal they wanted to score on. But this little kid, this little boy, he kept tapping it to himself, like keeping it close to him, like almost like stick handling. So I think he might have actually played hockey, which was pretty cool. But my daughter, she got the ball once, and I haven't played golf with her, but she basically teed it up like a golf ball and like lined it up, and then like, took a couple, light taps on it, to say, okay, this is where I want to hit it. And this little boy on her same team was like, fuck that, and just took the ball from her, just smacked it. And she was like, well, what the heck? It was my ball. yeah, not for long. You gotta do something with it. You just can't look at it. No one's gonna stand around and just be cool with that. And same with volleyball. Again, it's little kindergartners, so they're not setting up plays or having long volleys. They had an actual size net, but it was with a beach ball. This big inflatable beach ball, and basically you would hit it over and hit the ground on the other side, and then a kid on the other team would pick it up and then hit it back over. And again, just seeing how boys interact or take those things are just so different from girls, and I saw a lot of myself in them, good ways and bad. Like again, Chloe, she would just kind of want the ball to come to her, and basically the ball would come near her and she'd like slowly reach down for it, like a normal pace, not survival instincts, trying to pick it up. So those little boys would come crashing and diving for the ball and stuff like that. There's one little girl who, I don't know if I would say Chloe's average for her age, height wise, or just size wise in general, but there's this little girl who's a lot smaller than Chloe, actually the same girl that was crying during the frisbee toss or whatever. But she was actually getting in there. She was diving for the ball, and she ended up crying again because she dove for the ball. She got it, and this other little boy came in late and just ripped it out of her hands. And this little girl was like, what the fuck? The boys and girls are just so different. That can't be learned. And I know for a fact it can't be learned, because my daughter, I mean, you guys have seen on social media, I play street hockey with her, and her and I will play soccer together. I'm not tackling her, but I'm trying to teach her to be more aggressive, where she's like, if we're playing against each other and I had the ball for too long, she'll be like, okay, now we're on the same team. No, come get the ball. And I try to get her to be aggressive. So if it was a boy, I don't know, I might have a broken leg by now, the way that they just come in recklessly. But I mean, Chloe wasn't as bad as this other little girl. This girl who was actually bigger than Chloe, she same thing was happening to her. She wasn't getting the ball at all. So what would happen is, she tried to get the ball, or no, she didn't even try to get the ball. She would just stand there and ask for the ball. Like, no little boy is going to give up his chance to hit something, you know what I mean? So this little girl went crying to her mom, and the mom did the right thing. Instead of telling the, again, middle schooler how to do their job, she told her daughter, no, if you want the ball, you have to go get it. It's not just going to happen. And I know what some of you might be thinking, well, if I was there, why didn't I just tell Chloe to get in there or anything like that? It's because, I mean, I have these field days. My parents would come to them too, and God bless their soul. My dad, he would get annoyed with me. If he were to see me acting the same way Chloe was, my dad would not be happy with that, and he would expect more out of me just as an athlete in a physical sport. I mean, hockey is still physical relatively, at that young of age, but he would have just expected way more out of me. And so I don't want to be that parent where in front of her friends, she's trying to do her own thing and grow the way she wants to grow and be her own person to get onto her in front of her friends. No, I want her to enjoy her time. I don't want it to be a chore. I don't want her to be nervous to play sports in front of me, But the one thing when I do sign her up for sports, like we're going to do soccer this summer, is I want her to be good. I want her to excel at everything she does in life, but that's not my expectation. If she's not good at soccer, I won't be upset about it. What I do care about is effort. If you say you want to play soccer but you're not really good at it, still try, and then I'll be happy with it. But again, if we're just doing field day, I'll be internally frustrated that you're not going for the ball. But again, it's your deal. Do your own thing. I don't want you to, have more of these field days in the future and be nervous that I'm going to show up. That's not right either. I want you to have fun with it. But yeah, I ended up having to leave after the volleyball. I had work to get to, but it was, again, I love seeing her interact with kids. Growing up, she was really shy, very clingy to her mother and I, and to my parents, her grandparents, and her mother's parents as well. She's just not very open to new people, but she's really working on that. And that was one of the things we were really worried about with her going to a new school this year was we knew she was going to make friends, but we didn't know how quickly that would happen. She's a very sweet girl, but again, she's very reserved. Someone like me, I really don't take the time to, and it fucks me over, but I don't really take the time to read the rules or manual. When I do stuff, I just want to jump in and figure it out as I go. That's how I learn. That's how I have fun. But Chloe's not that way at all. She's very calculated, where, if the class is doing a new activity or playing a new game, she'll almost sit out a couple rounds or whatever the game is just to kind of take it in and see, how others are playing it and how aggressive it is. And if it gets too aggressive, she'll take herself out of it. She'll just kind of stand off to the side. Even if she's in the game like soccer, where again, these boys are just going in with reckless abandonment, she would just kind of stand off to the outskirts of the play, which, as an actual soccer play, I'd say it's a good thing. You need some spacing, but, at this time you just need to get in there. But she's just very calculated, wants to make sure that she understands completely what's going on. And she's the same way with making friends, and I've seen it at the park where if she sees kids that she wants to play with, instead of just jumping in and, asking if she can play, she'll watch them play for a little bit and just really make sure that she wants to be involved with whatever's going on. And I don't know, maybe it's not even just a girl thing, maybe it's just a kid thing. I just know that I wasn't that way, and boys, when I was in elementary school, none of them were that way either. We would all just hop in and think our bodies were invincible and, be diving around and getting dirty, and it's all fine and dandy when you're not the one doing the laundry. So I now get why my mom was so pissed off so much when I was a kid. And again, I went to private school, so we had to wear khakis. So, slide tackling at recess, and it was a point of pride to leave recess, with grass stains, and the dirtier your pants were, the more mud you had on it, the more green you had on your khakis were, medals of honor. And so I always thought it was awesome. And oh man, it was even better if you got a rip in your pants, or if you slid so much in the grass or whatever that you kind of ripped around your knees. It's kind of like this badass thing back in the day. So never got why it was such a bad thing, but oh my god, my mom hated it. Even my dad, who didn't really handle too much of the house responsibilities, he was more the breadwinner. I'm going to go to work, take care of things there, you take care of the house. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. He would kind of voice his frustration. He would voice my mom's frustration for her, you know what I mean? And my mother's a very quiet woman, doesn't like conflict or anything like that, so she would speak through my dad, which has its ups and its downs, but I don't know. I guess back to it, I wish Chloe would be more aggressive. But at her party, though, I think she did a really good job of including everyone. There had to be... Man, there's a picture on my social media of all the girls sitting on the steps. And I think the boy was too, but I want to say 9. I want to say there were 9 of them. And she did a really good job of just including everyone and... making sure she spent, good time, quality time with all of them, making them all feel welcome and making them all feel included in whatever game they were playing. She's very good at that. I mean, granted, she's an only child. She does have her selfish moments. Like the other day, last Sunday, actually, her and I went to the park together, and before we did that, she was playing outside with our new neighbors, and our new neighbors have 3 little girls around Chloe's age. I think one's a couple years older, one I think is Chloe's age, and then one that's a little bit younger. I'm going to say 3 or 4. I bought Chloe this bike last year, this Frozen bike that she never rode, she never rode it, and so it's gotten too small, and I talked to her about just having to get her a new bike this year, and she's okay with that. But both my mom and I had the idea, well, this little girl, our neighbor, enjoys riding the bike. The bike's around her size. Why don't we give it to them, and it'd be a nice gift. And so we talked to Chloe about it, saying, hey, would you like to give your bike to your new friend? Like, it'd be very sweet of you. And she's like, yeah, sure. And so I go up to her dad, he's a younger guy, but I mean, he's an adult, you know what I mean? He has the mortgage and everything like that. Really nice guy, though. So I talked to him. I said, hey, we would like to give you guys, Chloe's bike. It's just too small for her. She outgrew it. Her birthday's coming up, so we're probably going to get her a bike here in the next week or two. And again, really sweet guy. He's like, oh, gosh, well, thank you so much. How much would I owe you? And I told him, nothing at all. It's just a gift. Again, we need to get rid of it anyway, so we would like to pass it on. And he's like, gosh, that means so much. Thank you so much. And it's not like a handout. The guy's doing well for himself. But again, it's just, anything you almost don't have to buy your kid is a blessing just because of how expensive it is. But, so we were in the process of giving it to him, and, he was excited for his little girl, and the little girl was excited. He said, yeah, Chloe would like to give you this bike. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then Chloe, being an only child, it clicked for her that she was giving something of hers away, which, as an only child, I can say my favorite thing wasn't sharing. But I even talked to my dad about this, and he said I never did anything like this. But, when we hand the bike over, and, the dad's saying, thank Chloe, like, very nice of her, it just hit her, and she's like, no, I don't want to give my bike away. And it was just like this real awkward moment where we're like, well, Chloe, like, you gave the bike to her, you can't take it back now, like, you're getting a new bike anyway. And she's like, no, like, that's my bike, I want to ride it. And she was like losing her shit over it. And again, just very embarrassing for myself. And so I told the dad, look, we're getting her a new bike for her birthday here in the next couple weeks. We still want to give you the bike for sure. Could you maybe like give me a week, and we'll give you the bike back then. He's like, yeah, I totally understand, but the little girl, of course, is a little 3-4-year-old, didn't really get it, so she was really upset. And Chloe stuck to her guns with him. It was just like, no, like, I don't want to give you my bike. And again, her and I ended up going to the park afterwards. I just kept talking to her about it. I was like, that was rude of you to do that. And she's like, well, it's mine, I don't need to give it away. And it's like, well, you don't have to do anything, but when you give your word to someone, like, you can't just take it back. And so I was upset with it. But, as I've said, I've been working a lot in the afternoon, so I don't get as much time with Chloe, so I just kind of let this one, I didn't let it slide, you know what I mean? I still have talked to her about it on other occasions, but I just really didn't want to ruin the day. And her and I being able to go to the park together is just something awesome for me. As I said, she sits in front of the TV too much, and I work afternoons after work, so I don't get as much time with her as I would like. But I'm working really hard to get to the morning shift of my job just to kind of regain some of that quality time with her. But yeah, at her birthday, at least, she was very kind to all of her friends and got them all involved. They had a dance party. They had this game where you had to keep, these lightly inflated balloons where you had to hit the balloon and you had to keep it up in the air. Pin the horn on the unicorn. They also had a piñata that Chloe's mother's mom made, so Chloe's grandmother made. Very good looking. Pictures of it are on my social media as well. Yeah, though, it was a really good party. Her little cousin, well, he's a little kid. He's in 3rd grade, so Chloe's older cousin, this kid, man, he's a boy. Plays football, baseball, soccer. Can't remember if he plays basketball or not, but, just as a little boy, anytime you see something that you can knock the crap out of without getting in trouble, you're going to jump on the opportunity. So after the candy came out of the piñata, after the little girls got to try it, man, this little dude went to town, man. He gave him the stick, and I gave him the stick just because I wanted to see how he was going to handle it, because he was like, man, I know exactly where I would hit it to knock all the candy out in one shot. So all the candy's on the ground, the little girls picked up their candy, they went back inside, and I just happened to be holding the stick, and I was like, well, hey, man, have at it. And so I left outside. This little dude just smashed the crap out of this thing. And then the little girls are playing outside. Or no, playing inside, sorry. And he just comes in just holding up the head of this unicorn pinata like a trophy. You know, something I would imagine the Spartans doing back in the day. Oh, it was too funny. Had a really good time with that. For Mother's Day, though, I guess yesterday after Chloe's birthday party, shout out to my buddy Sean, who I worked with at Over Easy, which is now Urban Egg, now works at GameStop out east. Don't know the exact location. I know it's past Academy. And if I'm correct, it's roughly around Power. So if you live out east, I'd definitely go see him if I were you, get some pre-orders from him if you play video games. If not, get into video games and go buy from him. But his birthday was earlier in the week, but he had his birthday party last night. You know, those are a group of friends I don't get to see too often. You know, life's just busy, you know. But the funny thing is, though, is that I left Chloe's mother's house late. The party ended at 3, but I stuck around. I think I left around 9:30. Just I played with Chloe and her mother, and then her mother's family was, you know, gracious enough to make dinner. So I had dinner with them, which was an amazing meal. And then we put Chloe to bed, said prayers, and then Chloe's mom's sister, so Chloe's aunt, whose birthday is today, shout out to her, happy birthday. Her boyfriend, they live up in Fort Collins, and her boyfriend actually works for the sheriff's department up in Greeley. So him and I had a short conversation just about, you know, I want to be a sheriff too. So he was just kind of telling me about some of his experiences and just some advice. And the biggest advice that he gave me that I've heard from others too is just don't get discouraged, which it's easier said than done. And my grandfather, who works for the district attorney's office, has told me the same thing. But I've really struggled with that because I have been applying for jobs and I've been turned down a few times, and it just gets frustrating. But my job right now gives me experience to put on my resume, so it's a step in the right direction. So I got to talk to him, and then Chloe's mom and I had a really good talk. But anyway, so I left that house at 9:30, which is over by NORAD. And then my buddy Sean used to live over by University Village, so up here almost near Woodman. So I went home, which is by Garden of the Gods. I changed for my outfit. I wear the same outfit every birthday for Chloe, which is a old Hawaiian shirt that I got from there. And I'm just the nerdy, stereotypical barbecue dad, even though I don't barbecue, but anything just to look silly. And if you're not embarrassing your kid, I mean, what are you really doing? You know what I mean? So, but I wasn't going to go out looking like that. So changed into an outfit, drove over to Sean's apartment, which I thought was his apartment still. And, I keep calling him. He won't answer his phone. He's busy at the party. But I go to which I think is his apartment. And I just kind of listen in the door. I don't hear a lot of people, but I hear what I think is his voice. But I was like, man, if I knock and I'm wrong, it's going to be awkward. So I went back through old text messages between him and I, of him sending me the address. And so I realized I was one floor above. It's not his apartment anymore, not that it matters, but he was 104. I thought he was 204. So I went down to 104, and there was no sound coming from there. So I was like, oh, well, maybe they went out to a bar or something. So I checked the address, which I should have done in the first place, from Facebook that he sent me. And it comes to find out that I didn't know it was his house still, his new house, but it ended up being 10 minutes away from where Chloe's birthday was. So I would have been right there. But I went to his birthday party. I had a really good time. I had some really good talks with him and his roommate, who also worked at Over Easy with us. He's still there, which is now Urban Egg again. But yeah, seeing those guys was great. And then today, I actually have a hockey game that starts here in 30 minutes. That I wanted to get this out of the way before then. And then I have a game at 9:30, so I got to figure out what to do between 4:30 and 9:30, which will be great. But we went to lunch with my mother, my dad, my grandfather, my mother. We all had lunch together at Garner the Gods Country Club, which was great. Took a couple pictures, already posted on social media. Yeah, I really enjoy being around my family. I don't have Chloe on Mother's Day, obviously. That's for her mom. But I look forward to Father's Day. It's a good time. Anyway, I did have some rants I wanted to go on, but, today we have beautiful weather in Colorado Springs. Should just be a good day for mothers, so maybe next week I'll go off on my rants. So I think there's some pretty good ones to see how they work out, but one of them was inspired by the other day. I drove up to Denver with a friend, and the one thing I think should never exist is traffic. If everyone can drive correctly and just drive smart, there should be no traffic whatsoever. It can slow down, but there should never be a standstill, no matter what. Just fucking move over. Like, man, if you've driven from Colorado Springs to Denver or back, just the construction that's been going on for probably 6 years now is fucking ridiculous. You never see them working. I'm not getting into that now, but that's what inspired that. So next week I'll get into my rants. Have a good time with that. Also, I've talked to a few people about guests, one of which is actually in medical school right now, and he was sitting in on a heart surgery the other day. So I'm going to get him on here. I have a couple friends that just graduated school from different schools, so I want to talk to them about their experiences since I never got to experience it. Maybe get some advice for some of you that are about to graduate or anything like that. I want to talk to them. I want to get my other buddy who's going to Texas for missionary work. I want to talk to him about what he's going to be doing out there. What else? One of my coworkers is a former detective and would do undercover work with gangs and narcotics and really cool stuff. And he's told me some amazing stories, and so I want to get him on here and to tell some of those stories. I'm gonna try to get some other people on here as well. My buddy Sean, whose birthday was yesterday, he does a gaming channel on Twitch, which he says that he wants to get me on. So I'm going to return the favor, get him on here. He's really knowledgeable with video games. He's really big into music. And him and I have, ironically, had some same relationship issues over the past few years that we've known each other. So talk about that, get our feelings out because it's healthy. But, I'm looking to get some people on here, make it more interesting where you don't just have to hear my voice. And having Chloe was great, but I also want more adult conversations. I'm going to get Chloe on here every now and then. Just she enjoys it. It's weird, though. She doesn't enjoy the process, but she likes hearing her own voice. And some of you messaged me after the one with her on here that you enjoyed it and thought she was cute, which, she's narcissistic. She loves the attention, so... Alright guys, I'm going to let you go back to your Mother's Day. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are a mother, thank you for all of the hard work that you have been doing for your child and your family. If you're going to be a mother soon, congratulations. Long road ahead, but it's a blessing, man. Being a parent is the most rewarding experience you will ever have. So again, thank you all for listening. I will see you most likely next week. Enjoy your Sunday. Happy Mother's Day.